had a commenter ask they would like to hear my dating history, because I've said a few times that I've dated predominantly black women. I've only had one Asian woman as a girlfriend, and pretty much, I mean, I've only had like what, four girlfriends in my life, and I've dated, short term, couple dates, whatever, right? But pretty much, besides the one, every girl I either dated, short term, long term, has been black. And they said that they would, like to hear my history, because if you watch my YouTube, a lot of times I usually do talk about black women in particular, because to be honest, that's what I know. Right? I don't really know what it's like to date other types of women or other races of women. But I want to say this, that my view is, it kind of, pretty much goes for all women, not just black women. So I figured, why not? Okay. I'm going, it's not gonna be a long thing. I want to do one by one, I guess. My first black girlfriend was in college when I went to get my master's degree. She was a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. I'm just gonna talk about how it started and how it ended, because the whole bunch in between, it's needless fluff. But so how it began was, I think it was interesting and cute. So we were, it was Thanksgiving. I was in Florida. Since I didn't go back home for Thanksgiving, she invited me to come over and have Thanksgiving at her place, just me and her, because she wasn't going anywhere. So we did that, ate that. I was gonna sleep downstairs, but her roommate came home. So instead of going back home, because I was gonna stay over, but sleep downstairs, but her roommate came over, so she said, just come upstairs and you can just sleep in my room, and I'll just be on the computer all night. She was I don't know if you guys know this, Second Life. It was like an online game. It was really popular back in the day. She was, remember that, right? Second Life. She was really, really into Second Life. So, yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll just, go in bed and just, sleep in bed while she's on her computer all night. Fast forward a little bit at night, I noticed that she actually went to bed. She went to bed, and then all of a sudden, like, she starts turning her back to me, like her back, and I'm facing. She starts moving her back, and moving herself back more. So it starts, her booty is touching my front, and then that's how it started. Okay, and it was interesting. It was interesting where it was at the beginning. It was a very fun, amazing relationship. It was. I'll tell you more what I think about black women in that sense. But it was a fun, amazing relationship.
Thank you.
For her. But remember what I said about the whole Second Life thing. That was a big thing in our whole relationship, because she pretty much ignored me a lot. I mean, towards the end of the relationship, she pretty much ignored me a lot. I was on the computer pretty much 24/7. If she's not at work, if she's not, if she's not at work, at school, she's on the computer. So I felt neglected. I felt neglected. I was like, this is doesn't feel like a fun relationship anymore. Doesn't feel like a nice relationship. So, towards the end, we were fighting a lot, fighting constantly, just over small things. It's usually how, in my opinion, I think that's usually how most relationships end, because we're fighting over small things. Before it ends, right before I finish, there's two things that made this relationship pretty interesting. One, the moment I knew I loved her was I was studying. I was doing this project. It didn't work. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out this project. So I was angry. I was really angry. So, I yelled at her, tell her just go. So, and she left, but she went to find a senior, brought him up to help me out. And that was the moment I fell in love with her, really fell in love with her, because she ignored my bad behavior, right, my outbursts, and just completely thought about me, cared about me. So, to help me out, that was one moment that really, made me fall in love with her in the beginning. Another moment that was interesting is the first time I met her father. I was scared, right? The first time meeting a girlfriend's father, especially a black father, I was scared. Then one thing I always remember him saying, he said to me, "I'm glad you're not white." I was like, okay. I mean, I thought that was interesting. But those are two moments I just wanted to talk about, because those are really interesting moments. So fast forward to the end, we were fighting a lot, and the moment that it pretty much ended our relationship was when we had a terrible fight, a kind of violent fight. So we're arguing again, stupid arguments. We were arguing so badly. She took my laptop and threw it at me, threw it in my head. I got so mad. I pushed her. Now, I didn't mean to, but I pushed her. She fell back, and fell back against the wall. These were apartments, so they're shitty apartments. She fell back against the wall, got upset, ran to the bedroom, locked the door. I was so blinded by rage. I wanted her to come out so we could finish arguing. It was stupid. I was banging on the door, telling her to come out, and she wouldn't do it. So what I did was I bust down that door. When I realized I broke down the full door, I just like snapped out of it. I was like, wow, what the hell am I doing? And that was the moment where I was scared of myself. And I was like, no, that. And she left, right? She was scared, upset, so she went to a friend's house. And I was like, that was a moment that I knew that this relationship was making both of us toxic. Because one of the things, like, I realized on the top of the door there was a key, already a key. I could have just opened the door with that key. But that's how much I was blinded by rage. That's one thing where I don't want to ever be like that again. I don't want to ever be in that position again. So, you know, we ended it because it wasn't healthy for both of us. We were constantly arguing, constantly just fighting. Barely had sex or anything, right? Barely were intimate. We were just constantly fighting. So, you know, mutually, we didn't think it was good for us. So that was my first time first time in an actual relationship. So that was crazy. You know, my first time dating a black girl. So, you know, I'll always remember her. Oh, I mean, I just posted my first part to the series of my dating history, and particularly I've dated predominantly black women. But before I go to the next one, I wanted to say, you know, just to say a few things about my thoughts about it. Like, I've always, right, this is funny that, where I've always been a boob guy, right? I was always been a boob guy. And growing up, I had a lot of black friends. And it's like, all my black friends were like, they love the booty. I was like, why? It's like, I think the breast is always in your face, so I thought that was nice. The booty is like behind you. It's not like always looking at it. So I didn't understand why my guy friends always liked the booty. I really didn't. Until senior year of my prom. Senior of my prom, a friend of mine, her date bailed on her. So I said, I'll take you out. I'll take you to prom. So fast forward, you know, doing all my prom stuff. You know, it was weird. What changed my mind is that, okay, so going to prom, when we danced, she did like the grinding. I was like, oh, okay. I kind of stood at attention because of the whole grinding stuff, and I was like, now I understand why my guy friends like the booty. I get it now. I was a virgin, so I didn't understand it. Okay, so I didn't really knew about it. Okay, but yeah, that was, you know, my I've always had black friends, predominantly black friends. So I was always around that culture, that group of people. But that was my first semi-introduction. And then I already told the story of my first black girlfriend. But this is the thing for me. I would say this: I've never cared about race. I mean, I guess like maybe most Asian guys, we would think that we will end up with an Asian girl, but I never cared. I never cared about race. I cared about personality. I'm not really a talkative guy. I'm not talkative. I'm kind of introvert. I'm a shy guy. So one thing that always gravitated me towards black women was, one, because they were extrovert, usually. Okay, I'm not saying all women are the same, but they were usually extroverts. Most of the time, most of the relationships I've been in, they went after me, or they liked me more, and I wouldn't say pursue me, but showed more effort towards me and made me really get interested in them. Because I'm always the type of guy that I will like you more the more you like me. I don't know. Maybe that's just a weird thing of mine. So the women that I've dated, they either, you know, messaged me first or whatever, or they showed interest first, and that got the ball rolling. But that's why I always liked, you know, black women in general. Personality. They were more sexual. What kind of guy wouldn't love that? Okay. Because, like I said, the relationship I've been with black women, we were having sex like around the clock. I was tired. My first black girlfriend, I was tired. Literally, I had to tell her I'm tired. Okay, and a lot of times I'm like asleep, and she's, you know, going at it. And I was like, God damn. So that was amazing. I didn't feel bad for that. So the sex was always amazing. Personality is the main thing. Okay, I'm not just saying these women are sexual things. Personality was because they were the ones who were talkative, and I love that. Right? I love a woman that's talkative. I love a woman that talks, that wants to talk, that's interested in me, or wants to have conversation. My first Asian girlfriend she was shy. She was kind of like me already. I was like, you're in a room with two people who don't talk, who are shy, who are introverts. It's like, it's a boring dynamic. So it was a more welcome change dating subsequent black women because I think their personality fit with me more. Like I guess opposites attract kind of thing. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I love the personality. They were more loving. They were loving. They were more. They got me out of my shell. That's the thing what I liked. And I'm not saying this is all black women. I'm just saying that it's the black women I've dated. They were extrovert. They were talkative. If they see you are shy, whatever, they will help and get you out of your shell. They will push you to be more. They pushed me to be more talkative. They pushed me to be more as extroverted as they could push me out to be. So that was one thing I loved about at least the black girls I've dated. And with them, I like that they were forward, right? They were the ones who actually initiated sex and initiated affection. Okay, it's not just about sex, but it's like they initiated affection. They liked you. They were holding you. They were loving on you. Okay, the Asian girl I dated, I had to do everything. I had to initiate. I was like, it gets. And I was like, do I like you, or do we like each other, or am I the one who liking you? That's why I was like, it wasn't that fun. But again, I only dated one, so I'm not trying to say this is all Asian women. And I've dated a handful of black women, so I'm not saying this is all black women. But I'm saying this is in general what I'm thinking. This is what black women are. They were more loving, more aggressive, and I think aggressive in a cute way, in a passionate way. Now, I'm not saying the negative parts. They were aggressive in the bad parts too. But I'll probably leave that to individual stories I had. But yeah, those are why I gravitated toward black women more. And again, I always believe, go where you're loved and appreciated. And in my history, it's usually black women that actually like me or actually appreciate me, at least for the time being, right? When I'm in the relationships, they were actually interested. So, that was my, situation. And I was like thinking where, again, personal, I always felt like if a black woman wants something, she'll go after it. I didn't feel that with other women, other women of other races. So I always felt wanted. That's the thing. And as a man who didn't lose his virginity until late, feeling wanted is amazing. Okay? I think most men, if not all men, want to feel wanted. So dating black women I've dated, or being in a relationship with black women I've been in, they make me feel wanted. So that's why my dating history has been predominantly black women. So this is biggest part, my second relationship. My second relationship with a black woman. I will say this. This is a woman that you could categorize as the one that got away. This is the one where I was 100% involved. I was the terrible man, right? And this is all happened when I was young, but I was the terrible one. I messed it up. So that's why I feel like this was, in a sense, the one that got away, because I made it terrible. I was at fault. So I'm gonna stay that up front. It took me years to wake up from it, to learn from it and improve myself. So yes, I was 100% at fault, and it was my 100% blame. I don't blame no one else but myself. So this was the start where dating apps were a thing. Dating apps were on the rise. I'm old. Okay, dating apps were getting to a rise. So we met on the dating app. Took her to a restaurant that I'd never been to, but I really liked. I got to like it, and I thought it was a really nice restaurant. So the banter was nice. It was really nice. She was beautiful. And we got flowing. She was a virgin. So we didn't. I tried not to push anything. So we went on a couple of dates, right? Didn't push it anything or go far with it. But after a couple of dates, I said, I think 3, 4 dates. I said if she wanted to be my girlfriend. I'm the type of man that why waste the time, right? If I want to commit to you, I will commit to you. So, she agreed, and start from there. It was very simplistic, She was, she was again, when I said why how I like about a lot of black women. And again, it's just my perspective that I feel like if they like you, they want you, they will go for you. They will make it clear, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is all black women, but just the ones I dated, they make it clear that they like you, they want you. So that was a nice thing. I like a woman that's clear. I like a woman that's kind of aggressive. If she wants you, she's going for you. So that's what I liked. And this is my second time dating a black woman, and that's already the mindset I'm getting. So that's my assumption. So we're dating, really getting to know each other and stuff. Really getting the whole dating process. I was her first, and sex with her was amazing. It was amazing. She was. I don't want to go, not too detailed, but it was amazing. But here's the thing. Well, let me say this, okay? There were some flaws in the situation. I'm not saying that again. I'm not saying that she was off at fault of the ending of the relationship, but the flaws that she had was she had attachment issues. So she always wanted to know. She always wanted to see me, which I loved. Okay, she always wanted to see me. She always wanted me to stay over. She always wanted me to see her more. And I'll tell you why that was an issue, but later. She also fell into the department of, she had a lot of issues, like an eating disorder, a hurting herself issue too. So that was it was a hard. I tried to get her out of that. I did not condone it. That was not for me. I liked it if she ate. I hated when if she hurt herself. That was a no-go for me. So, I tried to not let that happen. Not because I loved her a lot. To this day, I always think that because in all my relationships, I can honestly say that I gave it my all. Right? I gave it my all. I didn't hold back, and now I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything, but I know I gave it my all. Where it's either both of us or the other party. But that's my own view that contribute to the end of the relationship. In this one, how it ended, I'll say 100% me. That's what I'm saying. So again, I just said the flaws. No one's perfect. She was very clingy, but you could see that because of her. She had some issues, but still, she was loving. She was caring. She was submissive, very feminine, very. She couldn't cook for shit. She burnt mac and cheese, but I ate it because I loved her. Right? I ate it because I loved her. Burning mac and cheese is crazy, but still, I ate it because I love her. So, this was, like I said, this was young. My first relationship was out of the state. So, here's the part where the relationship ended because of my stupidness. This was a time where my family wouldn't condone me doing this. I was living under my mom's roof. She was supporting me. I said this, I was not really a man. I'll say this, I wasn't a man. My mom was supporting me. I was living under her roof. Any money I have, she gave me. So really, I was under her thumb. She wasn't. Asian immigrants, they don't want. And I told you how even my first girlfriend, her dad wouldn't, like her dating white men. So our family's like that. Okay, there's family like that. So I knew my mom, my parents wouldn't like me dating outside my race. So it made me hold back. It made me not, stay over, spend as much time with her, or introduce her to my family. And that reached the boiling point where she couldn't stand it. She felt like I was choosing my family over her, which I was. I was. So she broke up with me because I essentially chose my family over her. After that breakup, it broke my heart a lot because I really missed her. I messed her up. I really messed it up with her because I chose my family over her. And she really loved me. She really loved me. So that breakup messed up my mind in the sense that I was a wake-up call. Okay, after that breakup, I was like, I can't do this. Right? There's no going back. Right? I messed up that relationship already. But I felt like not a man. I knew I wasn't a man. So that was the call to push me to leave my mom's house and pay my own way. Make my own money, support myself. So I live by my own rules. My mom is different now. My brother-in-law is black. I know people might hate that, but old habits or old traditions, old mindset is just what it is. But they're different now. I'm just saying, like when I was young, but that moment, even though it was terrible, I learned from it. It was a pivotal moment for me because after that, I left my mom's house. Right, I'm not a man living under my mom's roof, so I followed my own rules, and supported myself. So that was the moment that at least how bad it was, it pushed me to branch out and be a man, what I believe a man is. Okay, so this is the third black woman I dated long term. So the other two were black women I dated long term. I've dated other black women in between, right? Short term relationships. These are just talking about the long term relationships I had. And I'm really going through them pretty quickly, just saying how they began and how they ended, pretty much like that. So they're longer, the deeper. Just say that I do have history, and the third black woman I dated was online as well. She pretty much went after me in the sense that she started talking to me. She messaged me first. She really was pushing to get to know me. This was the hardest relationship I ever had. It was a long distance relationship, so there's a lot of fluff. which I'm not gonna get into because it will go for hours. But it was a hard relationship, very hard. It was long distance. She was living in the UK. We were doing long distance for a year, 2 years, and I'll say this: if you could, don't ever do long distance. It is not for the weak of heart, and it's so you're adding problems that no relationship should already have at the beginning of the relationship. So that's my thing. So I love her personality. I've said this before, where I love black women's personality, or at least the ones I've dated. So I'm assuming this is maybe more general, not all black women, but maybe a good amount. They are very talkative. I said this before. Very passionate, very loving, caring. If they want you, they will go after you, right? So I love that. I love that kind of mindset, that kind of persona. So that's one of the things that made me fall in love with her. Okay, I really liked her personality. And I guess there was a time where she was a strong woman. Okay, very and that's the thing where I guess a lot of black women they're very strong. They don't take bullshit. They will give it to you just as much as that you give to them. So I thought that was nice, interesting, at least for the moments. Because again, when you're arguing with a black woman, it's not that great. When you're seeing her, getting tough with other people, it's kind of hot. But when she's getting tough with you, it's not that great. So I learned that. So there's pros and cons, right? But that has been the most con in this one, because she was very strong. She was a woman that it's her way, the highway. But again, just a little bit before it was long distance. We were talking. She came over here a few times. I went over there a few times. So the relationship was progressing. But she was a very strong woman, right? Very educated. But she was also domestic, which was sexy. Okay, she loved to cook. She loved to clean. Really loved to cook and clean. But she was, smart. She was very smart. So, personality-wise, and who she was inside was the full package. So I loved that. I really loved that about her. Okay, I love that she was strong. I love that she was domestic, because it was like, wow, you don't see that go together. Because she would clean the shit out of the house, and she would cook you a nice meal. So, and she could, she's really smart. So, and but she was also the type of woman that loved to spend. She loved to spend money. She loved to buy nice things. I'm not gonna go, like I said, I'm not gonna go crazy detailed into all these stories, which I haven't. But the key things that made relationships, the start and the end, what made it fail, is because she was towards the end, it was always about money with her. I felt like I was giving so much than what I was receiving, because towards the end, because it was a long distance relationship, we didn't have sex, because it was long distance. But when we did meet, we still didn't have sex, at least towards the end. So there was, and I'm not just saying sex. We didn't really kiss. We didn't hold hands. We weren't really affectionate. But the money demands still didn't end, right? So even if I didn't get affection, that didn't stop her from demanding money. Money for this, money for that, gifts, presents, all this stuff. And I loved her. I really did. So, I was like, I loved her, so I sent her money. I gave her money. Until the point where I couldn't give her anymore. She was still demanding. I was like, I can't do it. I'm broke. I'm in debt. She still wanted money for this and that. So towards the end of it, it's like, she said she stopped. I mean, she didn't feel like she loved me anymore. And then because I couldn't continue giving her money, she said, just don't come see her. That broke my heart. So I was like, that a lot of these things, it shapes my view of women. But I'm not saying this is all women. I'm just saying this is the experience of a lot of men. And I just felt like I did everything for her. I went into a 10 grand debt for a medical surgery she needed to have. I went into debt for her. I bought her pretty much anything she wanted, at least as much as I could. So I paid her bills, paid her rent. I mean, I was providing. But goddamn, I don't have I don't have millionaire pockets, so I couldn't continue to provide the lifestyle she wanted. So that led towards the end of the relationship, because I couldn't endlessly send her money whenever she demanded. And I sent her a lot of money every time she demanded. But it was a point where I'm in debt. Every week, my paycheck is gone. It's either zero or negative in my bank account. So I was suffering. So I had to put my foot down. And she couldn't do it, And the part is I bought a ticket already. I already bought a ticket to go see her. She said, you might as well don't. You might as well not bother. I was like, well, I already bought a ticket. And she said, don't even bother. And I was like, fuck it. I was like, okay, whatever. Wasted that ticket because it was no refund. Because it was already, a couple weeks or whatever before it, she said, don't bother. I was like, fuck it. That was the end of that. So that was a hard That was a hard relationship. And I loved her, you know, because of who she was, her personality. I really loved her. But I felt used. I felt used. But again, I'm not giving the whole fluff because there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of issues. I'm just giving you more at the beginning and the end, and what kind of shapes my mind in certain things, my opinions and stuff. So, you know, it hurt. It hurt, and a lot of times I felt emasculated. Okay, I felt like, you know, it's always her way or the highway. You know, I had to follow. I mean, like I did everything she wanted. Right, everything she wanted, I did. So she was pretty much leading the relationship. She told me what to do, I did it. She told me how you know, when to jump, I jumped. How high to jump, I jumped. So, you know, that was not great. You know, constantly arguing. We were constantly arguing. And I was like, it was a hard relationship. You know, I don't know. Sometimes like, and that made me learn that like I really don't want such a hyper masculine women. You know, the strong independent woman is great, but they're not really strong independent. They still depend on you. If you, I mean, they still demand of you, but yet, you know, you can't demand anything of them. So it was a really hard relationship. So that's how that ended. You know, that was shitty. So I did a couple of videos of talking about my dating history, or at least my long-term dating history, and how it's been mostly black women. So I wanted to, I guess, kind of wrapped up those little videos in saying, you know, my final thoughts. I'll say this, right? I find black women beautiful. Black women are beautiful. I find most women beautiful. So that's never been a problem. What I love about black, at least the ones I've dated, okay, so everything I'm saying, preference with that. The ones I've dated, these are the attributes they've had. They were very loving, very caring. They had the personality. Okay? This is probably one of the key things. They had the personality that drew me out of my shell, because I'm a shy guy. I'm an introvert, so I'm not talkative. I'm not really that, you know, outgoing, whatever. So dating the black women that I have dated, since some of them, they went after me, and with their personality, it took me out of my shell. Okay, it made me more talkative around them, made me more comfortable around them. So that was an amazing feeling. Okay, and I don't know about you, but for me, they were very loving, sexual. So sex, at least at the beginning, okay, was amazing. It was you know, just absolutely, I couldn't get enough. Now, a drawback, and, you know, I don't know if it happens to other people, but for me, like, the first couple months of sex was nonstop, okay, nonstop, and it was just amazing. And then towards the end, you know, a couple months before the end, it just dropped off the face of the earth. It's like stocks going all the way high, boom, there's a line going down. So that was a shitty thing, but probably could have been because the relationship was teetering and dying. Now, one thing I want to say is that what I found is really hard with dating black women, and to be honest, I only know what it's like to date black women. So I don't know if white women are like this. I don't know if really a lot of Asian women are like this. I've only dated one Asian woman, and I've dated mainly black women. What makes me say the things I've said in a lot of my videos is that I find a lot of black women, and this is both attractive and unattractive, which is crazy, that they are very aggressive. They are very domineering, combative, you know, vocal, just the strength, right? Strong women kind of thing. It is hot when they are tough with other people. Because I had an ex, you know, me and her was walking down the grocery aisle, and she said, not me said, okay, this woman that was, you know, stocking shelves or whatever, was staring hard at me. So she got in this woman's face and said, "What are you looking at? What are you doing?" I didn't say this, okay? So she's telling me this. So it was hot that she was being territorial, right? Or I had an ex that's like, she wouldn't back down if other people, you know, mess with her and stuff like that. It was hot to see, okay? But when that strength and aggressiveness and toughness and whatever is aimed at me, God, that's not great. So, you know, I mean, that's why I was like, it was cool, but man, it's not that cool, right? So that was like, I found that really, I don't know, a big turnoff. A big turnoff. I mean, which way, right? It's kind of a turn on, kind of a turn, well, a lot of a turn off, right? A little bit of a turn on, a lot of a turn off as well. So, you know, and it's like, what I found is like, the other mindset of it's her way or the highway. You follow my lead, or, you know, you get the step in. And it's like, makes you feel less of a man, okay? Where, you know, every decision you make has to be a battle. And it has to be either their decision or not. So you always have to constantly fight, constantly battle to make any decisions whatsoever. So it's a really hard relationship. You know, so that's one thing. You know, that's what makes it really hard. So that's why I say these are the, you know, and like I said, black women are beautiful, and I love a lot of things about black women, but dating black women, or at least for me, has been very difficult. It's been very difficult. So I don't know. That's why it's just my perspective, and I'm just giving you my watching those other videos, if you do, those are my perspective as how, black women are amazing, but they are difficult to date, very difficult to date. And at the end of the day, nobody desires, it's something hard, right? Why would you want, to have a difficult dating experience? Plus, it's like, you're not just difficult, you also like zero affection. Like sex just drops off a cliff, which add on to like how difficult the situation is. Okay, that's my history.
And sir, if you text me and ask me how my day going and I tell you that it's not going well and you don't respond back and ask me how can you be of service, how can you help, how can you fix it, how can you make it better, don't worry about it. Have a great life.
And women wonder why they're chronically single, right? They wonder why when dating is so easy for them, they're chronically single. Because in their mind, men are only good if they can be used. Men are only good if they can take away women's adult responsibilities, right? Make women's life easier. This is why men are walking away from dating. This is also why the players and the bad boys are up. Because they don't care, right? They'll give you money just to get some of it. But they will pump and dump, right? Once they get it, they will pump and dump. So you're pretty much transactional. You're pretty much just transactional. That's the thing. It's not about caring for someone. It's about, what can you provide? It's purely what money. How much can you provide for me? How much can you enrich my life? Instead of, how about enriching my life with your love, with your devotion, your dedication, how you treat somebody. But all the women care about how you treat them monetarily. And then you wonder why relationships have become so transactional, right? Because a man will, now he wants to pay for it. Well, he wants to get some. Women just don't understand it, right? Men are paying it for free. Men are just like giving you money. Oh, just the kindness of their heart. Now that they're giving you money, they want their investment, right? They want the payoff. I'm sorry. This is why I said women are the root of all the problems in the dating market. Women have created transactional relationship. It's no more about love. It's no more about building with somebody. It's no more about being there with someone through the hard times and the good times. It's about, what? You're a tool. You're a wallet. You are a whole, right? That's it, right? I'm paying for something. I'm getting something. Plain and simple. I know it's just funny. It really is, because again, these will be the same type of women who complain about men are liars, men are cheaters, right? Men. Oh, how could you tell men lie? Because this energy. Why wouldn't a man lie to this, right? Because all he cared about is how he's gonna enrich your life, how he's gonna pay to make your life better. So why wouldn't liars be attracted to this? Good men would not, because they don't want to be used. They don't, and they don't want everything to just be about money. So this is why women don't understand how you attract liars, because of energy like this. Okay. I want to say this, right? Everyone is free to make whatever choices they want in life. You're free to make whatever choices you want in life. You're just not free from consequences. Okay? You're not free from the consequences of your actions. After years of giving men hell, I think I'm ready to be someone's peace. Great. Cool. It don't mean that you will be someone's peace. This is something that a lot of women don't realize, that, what is the saying? And I'm not saying, women are. I'm saying you can't teach old dogs new tricks. That's a very common saying. And I'm not saying women are dogs or anything. I'm saying it's a common saying, and there's a reason for it. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of traits, a lot of our mindset. This is why I always question. People always say, "Oh, people change." I think, in my honest opinion, people don't really change. Now, I think how people view others change, in the sense that, you never saw these red flags to begin with, and then after years of being with a person, now you suddenly saw these red flags because the fog, the veil of love is faded or gone. So now you see, oh my God, listen, I see these red flags now, because maybe my love for the person has deteriorated or faded. So now I'm noticing these said red flags. So that's what I believe more than people changing. But that's my view. I'm saying that most people, their habits, their way of thinking, their ideologies, just how they act, how they treat people, is very ingrained. It becomes very habitual. So who you are, especially at a particular age, is pretty much who you're going to be pretty much for most of your life. If not, that's who you are, set in stone or close to it. So women that have been giving men hell, honestly, you don't know what it is to be someone's peace. You don't know how to be someone's peace. You only know how to be someone's chaos. And this is why I always find it funny where a lot of masculine women constantly say, oh, I can't wait, I need a masculine man to bring out my femininity. I'm sorry. If you're actually the masculine type of woman, femininity is not a switch you turn on and off. It isn't. Because let's say this, if you get angry, boom, that masculinity comes out. So femininity has become very unnatural for you because you're not used to it. You've never, you've been mostly a masculine type of person. You've been mostly disagreeable, argumentative, combative for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years of your life. So really, even if a man that's masculine gets with you, well, if he gets you angry or if like love starts to fade, your fake femininity disappears really quick because it's not you. It's a facade. It's a lie that you put on. And also lies, they don't last for long, in my opinion. Lies don't last for long. Who you are will come out. So this is the thing where, fine, women can have whatever mindset they want. Go about life however they want. But be sure, you won't be free from the consequences of your actions. If you have been used most of your life to become a man, to be men's hell, be men's chaos, you're not free from the consequences of, can't finding a man because you still can't bring men peace because you don't know how to.
I never knew why I was attracting like super feminine men until I realized that I am so masculine. So if you're seeing this video, it's probably because the universe wants you to get out of your masculine energy. And like I am attracting much more like alpha males rather than feminine males, like the betas, because I used to always pride on being an alpha woman. Why didn't anybody tell me that being an alpha woman is a trap? Like, I do not want to be an alpha woman at all. And like the past 2 to 3 years, I've literally been trying to like break that cycle of being dominant and masculine because like I literally cannot.
Are you keeping them? You are attracting these alpha men, but are you keeping them? You're not. Sometimes women really think that femininity and masculinity can be a switch to turn on and off. That these modern day masculine women, these women that are aggressive, combative, opinionated, disagreeable, they can switch it off and then be feminine. They can be submissive. They think that after years they can turn on a switch where they can be fit, feminine and friendly. They can be agreeable, submissive, maybe a bit obedient. Really? I really don't think women can do that. I honestly, because those two mindset are very counteracting. They complement each other, but they don't mix well, in my opinion. Right? A woman that is like supposedly masculine and feminine, I to really think that she can just switch it off. In my personal opinion, I've really yet to see a woman that's truly masculine can truly become feminine. In my opinion, it can't, because let's say even in situations where she was masculine, she now trying to be feminine. In situations where let's say she's mad at you, you have an argument, that masculinity comes out because that is who she is. She's trying to fake the femininity. She's trying to put on a facade of femininity. It wasn't natural for you. Just the attitude. I'm not saying being a woman. I'm saying the attitude, the mindset that comes with being feminine in nature, being ladylike. It didn't come natural for you. For a lot of modern women, it doesn't come natural anymore. They are, like I said, they are very combative, very disagreeable, very aggressive. They have the mindset of strong, independent. They don't need no man. That mindset is very, very strong in a lot of modern day women. So I don't think it's a switch that so many women think that they can flip on and off. And I've yet to see a woman that can successfully do it.
I feel like one of the nuances missing from the women aren't dating anymore, women aren't in the dating pool, they're leaving men, is that ain't no fine shit out here, okay? The men are ugly. They look tired, smelly, gross, okay? Nothing. When was the last time you saw a hot-ass man in person? Quickly.
Dating statistics have shown that most women find most men unattractive. Fine, it is the reality of men. Men have to deal with that. Women find most men unattractive. But what I find, the nuance and the things that I'm not talking about is that this is the problem where I find more women than ever are egotistical, narcissistic, are absolutely, utterly superficial. Fine, you want to date attractive men, cool. But here's the thing where I find women like, they want an attractive man. They want him also financially stable or financially wealthy. They also want him charming. They also want him to be morally sound, right? Monogamous, doesn't cheat, doesn't lie, right? She also wants him to be funny. She also wants him to be a certain height. It's like, when does it stop? When is it ever enough for women? Fine, you want this man, you find very few men attractive, but then the few men that are attractive, you also want more of him. More to him, right? It's not enough. Attraction is still not enough. And what I find is that it's like the audacity, the entitlement of so many average, and sometimes below average women are so amazingly egotistical, cocky, narcissistic. Find shit out there? Who are you? You are average at best. And then you think that you qualify for fine shit? You think you qualify for the 8s and the 9s, right? When, in all honesty, you're not even come close to that kind of rating. It's the thing where I'm not even bashing her looks, because average is perfectly fine. But the problem is that so many women have such, and having self-esteem is great, but their self-esteem borderlines are narcissistic, egotistical, ego, right? Heavy ego. And it's like, who are you to think that you can qualify for fine shit if there is out there? And again, fine. Once you find fine shit, then you realize that these good-looking men only want to use you, have sex with you, but honestly don't want to commit to you because you really aren't on his level, attraction-wise, or you don't have any other qualities. So he only want to use you for your body. And then you complain, men ain't shit, men only cheat, men don't want to commit. Well, guess what? He only wanted to have sex with you because you are easy lay. You wanted to find men, so find men, kind to you, but only want to have sex with you because honestly, it will be embarrassing to be with you. But again, my main thing is the ego. It's just going back to so many women, so many average women find average men not on their level. That is insane to me. That is insane to me because at the end of the day, are you attracting these fine ass men, or are you attracting men on your level? So I find it odd or interesting that so many average women are putting down average men, and then putting them down in such an unrealistic way. There's not enough good-looking men out there. But God, you're not beautiful. You're not good-looking. You're average at best. And then to have the entitlement, the audacity to care or put down men's attraction level when you would not like the same feeling, the same action in return. But women don't care. Women are fine with putting down men's looks. But guess what? If men do that to women, now that's misogynistic.
Okay, I don't condone violence, but can we bring back slapping the shit out of men? I'm talking about 1960s. He said something disrespectful. I throw a glass of champagne in his face and I slap him and then storm out of the restaurant. Can we bring that back?
You don't condone violence, but you promote violence in the same breath. And women do put their hands on men more often than that. More now than ever before, I believe. This is a thing where I think it's with women. It's weird. It's like this is the thing. I honestly believe that a lot of women would be more physical, would be more violent than men if they had the strength for it. I honestly believe a lot of women would be more violent than men if they had the strength for it, because they are highly emotional creatures, highly emotional. They're controlled by their emotions. Because I don't know why she didn't because this is a thing where I want to say that I said this before. If women were men, they would be incels. They would be incels because they lack accountability. They're highly emotional. They're selfish. They're egotistical. They only think about them as the center of the world. Also, 70% of non-reciprocal domestic violence is committed by women. What does that mean? 70% of one-way domestic violence is committed by women against men. I believe that if women had the strength of men, more men, you would see it more prevalent in society instead of just statistics. You would see videos of, you would see evidence, right? Bigger evidence of broken bones, broken orbitals, bruises, stuff like that. But men don't really talk much about it because when she hits you, she screams at you. Men deal with it. I also really something that a lot of women do, where because they are the promoters of it, right? They're so against it. Violence, all this, right? But yet when you hear them talk, they promote it if it's against men, right? Anything women are against, if it's against men, they promote it. I.e., in this case, violence. Women are against domestic violence or just violence in general. Yet if it's against men, they promote it. It's the hypocrisy I love.